You know, the internet feels like this permanent, endless library of, well, everything, right? But what if I told you it's actually written in disappearing ink? That all the knowledge we count on every day is constantly fading away. Today, we are diving deep into this fragile web and figuring out how we can save our digital history one crucial link at a time.
All right, so here's our roadmap. First, we'll get a handle on just how big of a problem broken links really are. Then, we're going to look at a pretty amazing solution for creating permanent digital records. We'll even dissect one of these records to see exactly how it works, and we'll wrap it all up by talking about why this matters so much for all of us.
So let's jump right in. The main issue we're tackling here is that the internet, which feels so solid and indestructible, is actually way more fragile than any of us really think.
Of course you have. We all have. Ugh, it's that super frustrating digital dead end, right? You're looking for an article, a piece of research, maybe a source for a fact, and you just hit this brick wall. The information you needed is just gone.
Well, that frustration actually has a name. It's called link rot. And as you can see here, it's what happens when pages get moved or changed or just deleted entirely. And look, this isn't just a minor annoyance. It's a serious threat to how we access information. Imagine going to a library and finding that books are just randomly vanishing from the shelves. That's pretty much what's happening online every single day.
But here's the good news. It doesn't have to be this way. Let's shift gears and talk about the solution and how we can actually fight back against link rot to build a much more stable web.
And that brings us to this really powerful question. I mean, just think about it. What if we could take a link and make it permanent? What if we could create a version of a web page that was guaranteed to be there tomorrow or next year or even 100 years from now? This exact phrase right here is our starting point. It's a quote taken directly from a preserved piece of the internet, and it's our first big clue. It's like a signpost that tells us, hey, what you're looking at has been saved from disappearing.
So what in the world is perma.cc? Well, it's a service that was built specifically to solve the link rot problem we've been talking about. It's designed for people who absolutely cannot have their sources disappear. We're talking researchers, journalists, and even the courts.
Okay, this is the key difference. A regular web link is basically like pointing to a whiteboard. Anyone can come along and erase it or change it at any time. A perma.cc link, though, that's like taking a super high-resolution photograph of that whiteboard and locking it away in a secure archive. The original might get erased, but that snapshot you saved, it's there forever.
All right, so we get to theory. Now let's do something fun. Let's pop the hood on that specific record we mentioned and see what actually gets saved inside one of these digital time capsules.
First up, every single record gets a nice, clear title. In this case, it's simply Sparrow case. Right away, you know exactly what the web page was about. It gives you all the context you need.
Next, and this is crucial, it saves the original URL. This is that fragile link, the one that's in danger of rotting away. The record acts as a permanent backup, forever connected to that original source.
And this part is so cool because it really shows you the time capsule aspect. This record freezes the web page exactly as it looked on one specific day, in this case, June 23, 2023. So you're not just saving the page, you're preserving a specific moment in digital time.
And maybe the best part of all is how simple it is. Seriously, you just give it a link you want to save, the service creates that snapshot we talked about, and then it hands you back a new permanent link. It's such a simple but powerful tool for making sure that when you cite something, it actually stays there.
So we've gone through the what and the how. Now it's time to zoom out and talk about the why. Why does saving this one little link about something called the Sparrow case represent such a huge and important idea?
This is where it all clicks. The Sparrow case isn't just some random page, it's a landmark legal decision in Canada about Indigenous rights. If that original link explaining it breaks, a really vital piece of educational and historical information could just vanish. Preserving this link makes sure that this history stays accessible for everyone to learn from.
And the ripple effects here are massive. For academics, it means their sources don't just disappear into thin air. For all of us, it means our shared digital history gets preserved. And in an age with so much misinformation flying around, this creates a stable foundation of facts we can check. For journalists and lawyers, it means evidence and sources stay exactly as they were.
This quote from Brewster Kahle, who founded the incredible Internet Archive, just sums up the whole grand vision perfectly. This isn't just about fixing a few broken links. It's about fundamentally changing the web from something that's always shifting and disappearing into a lasting, reliable library of human knowledge. a permanent memory for all of us.
So, in the end, it all comes down to this really important question. Now that we know our digital world isn't permanent by default, we have to be deliberate about it. We have to be intentional. The web is what we build, and it only remembers what we choose to save. So, I leave you with this. What information is important enough to you to make permanent? What parts of our fragile web will we choose to save for the future?